and welcome to an algebra tutorial video working our way on linear graphs. And in particular, we're going to learn in this video how to find the slope of a line if we're just given the graph of a line. So let's review a little bit about slope. Slope is just the average rate of change between 2 points. All I need is 2 points, and I think about how much change is happening, and I divide them to get a rate. Another way to think about slope, kind of more of a formulaic approach, is slope is the change in y, so how much change vertically, is divided by the change in x. Again, if I find those things, that'll give me my average rate of change. Another way to think about slope is to find the change in y, we can just take 2 points, subtract the y values, that gives me the change in y, and then subtract the x values, and that gives me the change in x. And if I can divide those two things together. So let's take a look at the line we have and see if we can use these ideas of slope to figure out what is going on here. So the first thing I'm observing in my line is this is a negative slope. In other words, as x goes to the right, as I'm moving my way to the right, my y values are decreasing. They're getting smaller. So it is a decreasing linear graph. This has a negative slope because we're losing values for x over and over again. Okay, so to actually find the slope, I need 2 points that I can use to then figure out how much change is happening. So I'm going to look on my line and try and find some points that look right on in terms of coordinates here. So I like this point right here, which looks like it goes over -4 for x, and it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the coordinates would be -4 and 7 along my x-axis and my y-axis. So I need one more point to try and quantify the change happening here. I'm going to pick this point right here. Now again, it could be any 2 points. It looks like this point right here could have worked out just fine. All you need is any 2 points and it'll give you the same slope. But I'm going to pick that one, this first one. I'm going to pick this one right here. The coordinates of that one are 2 to the right, so +2, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it has a y value of 5. Okay, so let's think about finding the change here. One way to do it with a graph is to actually draw in the change. So we up and down are changing vertically that much, and horizontally we're changing that much. This is called drawing a little slope triangle to visualize the change that's happening. So I'm thinking vertically and horizontally how to get from one point to the next. And it looks like we went down 2 squares. So vertically along my y values, that's a change of -2. And horizontally, we went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a change of +6. So just by going off that, my change in y was -2. And my change in x was a +6. Both those things are changing at the same time. And if I divide those, -2 divided by 6 reduces down to -1/3. So I can say my slope, my average rate of change, is -1/3. All right, but let's take another approach to this. So I have a couple coordinates here. We found the coordinates of 2 points. Let's use this method here. Putting in, let's make this my x1 value and my y1 value. So x and y from one point. Let's make this my x value from my second point and my y value from my second point. And I can actually subtract them to find out what's happening. So let's take y2, which we've designated as 5, minus y1, which we designated as 7. So now we're going to find out, well, how much change happened between those 2 points. And now let's look at the x values. x2, the second x value, was 2. So I'm going to put a 2 in for x2 in my formula there. And I'm going to subtract from that x1, which is -4. I got to be careful with my negatives, so I'm going to use a parentheses, -4. All right, let's see what we come up with when we use this formulaic approach, putting in x's and y's in all the right spots. 5 minus 7 is going to be negative 2. And on the bottom, 2 minus negative 4 turns into 2 plus 4 is positive 6. Well, that reduces down, 2 over 6 reduces down to negative 1/3. And I get the same slope as when we just drew our slope triangle. So as you're figuring out the slope of a line, I really want you to think about, we're trying to take how much change is happening vertically and horizontally and dividing them into a rate. But there's different ways you could approach it. Some of you guys will love drawing slope triangles and seeing that change. It's very visual. Some of you would rather get some hard points and some coordinates, subtract and find the change this way. It works either way. Some ways you might find are quicker, but it gives you a couple approaches to finding the slope of a line based off a graph.